two World War II convicted war criminals, both high-ranking, and both ended up in Southern California. Alongside Chetnik war criminal Momcilo Juic, there was his ideological archenemy and ustaše, Andrea Artukovic. Artukovic was a senior minister in the Ustaše regime, a fascist government allied with Nazi Germany, and a sworn enemy of the Chetniks. He was not a soldier, he was a government official who signed orders, orders that led to mass atrocities, and he was convicted of very specific crimes by the Yugoslav government. In 1941, Artukovic ordered the execution of a Serbian lawyer and former parliament member. Artukovic was convicted for ordering the mass killing of 450 civilians, men, women, and children, because there was no room for them in a concentration camp. The victims were predominantly Serbs, as well as Romas, Jews, and Bosniaks. Artukovic was also convicted for ordering the mass killing of the entire population of Vrgin Most in Croatia in 1942. It should be noted that the town was predominantly a Serb town. Artukovic was also convicted for ordering the execution of several hundred prisoners of war near Zagreb in 1943. And again, these prisoners were also predominantly Serbian. Now, some have argued that these prisoners may have been Chetnik fighters, but that distinction is completely irrelevant under international law. There is a fundamental difference between combat on a battlefield and the treatment of captured political prisoners. It should go without saying that once they're captured, political prisoners must be treated humanely and afforded a due process, even if they're suspected of committing serious war crimes. It does not matter. Summary executions are totally illegal under international law. In addition to slaughtering Serbian civilians, the Ustaše regime also slaughtered Romas, Jews, and Bosniaks. But the specific convictions in Artukovic's case involve predominantly Serb civilians. After the war, Artukovic was able to escape Europe using a false name, Alois Anic, whatever that means. Don't know, don't care. And using this name, he was able to get into the US. And he lived here for decades in Southern California, even after his identity was discovered. And at the same time, Momcilo Juic, an ultra-nationalist Chetnik and Artukovic's ideological enemy, was also living in Southern California. In fact, they lived less than 2 hours apart from each other. Historical records indicate that Momcilo Juic led Chetnik forces responsible for the mass slaughter of Bosniaks and Croat civilians, and he openly promoted ethno-nationalist violence. So why California? Well, after the war, U.S. immigration policy prioritized anti-communist refugees, and background checks were limited, and also diaspora networks just protected their own. And as a result, California became home to numerous individuals implicated in wartime atrocities, not because they were exonerated, but because they became politically useful during the Cold War. Now, there's no evidence that Momcilo Juic and Andrea Artukovic ever met. I mean, they represented totally opposing ideologies. I mean, like Chetniks versus Ustaše, it's like water and oil, or milk and oil, or whatever they say. But they lived in the same state at the same time. Different uniforms, different ideologies, but the same outcome for civilians. The real question is not if these war criminals were here, it's how many others were too.